You want to know what really happens to your wife after a divorce? Not the Instagram version. Not the fantasy stories she sells to her friends. Not even the lies she repeats to herself just to fall asleep at night. I'm talking about the truth, the part no woman will ever admit out loud because it exposes the exact cost of chasing an illusion. The moment she walks away from the marriage, she thinks she's stepping into freedom. She thinks she's stepping into a brighter world where everything she ever felt missing will suddenly appear. And the craziest part? She actually believes it. She believes the excitement, the independence, the new beginning, is real. She believes she's about to start the life she always imagined, and that belief is the first trap. Because here's what nobody tells her: when she leaves you, she isn't just leaving a man. She's leaving the structure that held her entire emotional reality together. She's leaving the one person who knew her fears, her triggers, her insecurities, her dreams, all the things she pretends don't matter but secretly depends on. She thinks she's walking into a new chapter, but she's actually stepping into a psychological vacuum. And at first, she doesn't notice it. At first, she's high on her own decision. She posts motivational quotes, she buys new clothes, she tells her friends how relieved and empowered she feels. Every message she gets, every compliment from a stranger, every match on a dating app feels like confirmation that she made the right choice. It feels like the universe is rewarding her. But she doesn't see what's actually happening behind the curtain. She's not thriving. She's escaping. She's running so fast from what she had that she doesn't realize she's sprinting straight into a world where no one actually knows her. Every guy she meets only sees her surface. None of them know the way she panics at night for no reason, or how she needs reassurance before every big decision, or how she spirals when she's alone too long. None of them see the real her. You did. And that's exactly why she had the power to get comfortable around you. Now she has to rebuild that trust from zero with men who don't have the patience, the history, or the stability she took for granted. But she doesn't know that yet. Right now she's still floating in the illusion that life is suddenly going to reward her for being brave enough to leave. She convinces herself that the attention she's getting means she's desirable. She convinces herself that the world is wide open and full of better options. She convinces herself that you were the one holding her back. What she doesn't realize is that she walked out of a stable reality and into a marketplace she doesn't understand. She doesn't realize that the men giving her attention aren't planning to give her commitment. She doesn't realize that feeling wanted and being chosen are two completely different things. She doesn't realize that the fantasy of "there's someone better out there" is a story that collapses the moment she has to confront an uncomfortable truth. You were never the problem. Her expectations were. And she won't see this on day one. She won't see it after a week. She won't see it after a month. But the cracks are already forming. She just doesn't feel them yet. What she thinks is excitement is actually adrenaline. What she thinks is confidence is denial. What she thinks is freedom is the beginning of a slow unraveling she won't be able to stop once it starts. And trust me, it always starts. But here's where everything begins to twist, and she won't even realize she's losing control of her own mind. The illusion she built starts to collide with reality in subtle ways, small cracks she tries to ignore but can't unfeel. It always starts with moments she never expected, moments that hit her in places she thought were fully healed. She'll go out with a man who seems promising, someone who says all the right things, someone who looks like the upgrade she imagined she deserved. She'll sit across from him, smiling, pretending she's living that new chapter. But something feels off. It's the way he listens, half-interested and patient. The way he compliments her, generic, recycled. The way he looks at her, not as a partner, but as an opportunity. He doesn't notice the tiny details about her the way you did. He doesn't know how she freezes when she hears certain songs. He doesn't catch that little shift in her breathing when something upsets her. To him, she's just another woman at a table. And suddenly, the charm she expected to feel turns into a quiet unease she can't explain. But she won't admit it. Because admitting it would force her to question the story she told everyone on the day she walked out. So she keeps going. More dinners. more conversations. More forced laughter that even she can't fully believe. She tells herself she's just adjusting, that this is what independence feels like. But deep down, something starts whispering in the back of her mind, a voice she tries to drown out. A voice that says, "This doesn't feel like home." She'll keep pushing forward, trying to convince herself she's still winning. She'll scroll endlessly through dating apps looking for validation that her decision was right. She'll read flattering messages from strangers and pretend they matter. She'll tell her friends she's having fun even though their advice feels emptier than before. And every night when she turns off her phone, the silence hits her harder. Silence used to be peaceful when you were in the next room. Now it feels like a punishment. And then the comparisons start, not because she wants them to, but because the brain never stops measuring what feels safe versus what feels uncertain. She didn't mean to compare a new man's tone of voice to yours, but she does. She didn't mean to notice that your patience was deeper, your presence calmer, your energy steadier, but she notices. She didn't mean to remember the way you understood her without asking, but the memory arrives uninvited. She didn't mean to miss the predictability, the loyalty, the comfort you provided, but the truth doesn't ask for permission. That's the moment the emotional confusion starts tightening around her. She begins to question whether the excitement she chased was worth the stability she traded. She starts feeling a strange emptiness, an emptiness she'll blame on stress, or dating, or exhaustion, anything except the real reason. Because if she admits the real reason, the entire fantasy she built collapses instantly. She'll keep telling herself she's fine, but the mask gets heavier. She'll tell herself she's strong, but her voice will crack when she's alone. She'll tell herself she didn't lose anything valuable, but every day the absence grows louder. Absence of support. Absence of consistency. Absence of a man who actually cared. And by this point, she starts looking back at memories she once pushed away. Not because she's nostalgic, but because she's searching for something to anchor herself. She remembers the arguments differently. She remembers the good moments more vividly. She remembers what it felt like to have someone who wasn't pretending, performing, or playing a role. But she won't say any of this out loud. Not yet. She still believes she can outrun the truth for a little longer. She still believes the world will eventually reward her for walking away. She still believes there's something better waiting beyond the doubt. But life isn't generous with people who run from themselves. And the part she doesn't see yet, the part that's coming, is the moment where everything she built starts folding in on itself. Because illusions don't collapse slowly. They collapse all at once. And when they do, they leave nothing but the truth she's spent months trying to bury. And this is where everything finally breaks. Not with a loud moment, not with some dramatic collapse, but with a quiet, almost invisible shift inside her. A shift she can't escape, no matter how hard she tries. It happens on an ordinary day, when she's doing something simple, something harmless. Maybe she's making coffee. Maybe she's sitting in her car after work. Maybe she's getting ready to sleep. But in that ordinary moment, something inside her snaps into focus for the first time. She realizes she's tired. Not physically. Not emotionally. But tired of pretending. She's tired of acting like she's happy. Tired of forcing smiles that don't reach her eyes. Tired of chasing attention that never turns into connection. Tired of lying to herself just to avoid facing the regret that's been growing inside her like a shadow. She won't break down immediately. She won't cry right away. She won't even admit it at first. She'll just feel this heaviness in her chest that doesn't go away, no matter how many distractions she throws at it. And for the first time since she walked out, she'll whisper the truth in her own mind, so quietly she almost doesn't hear it. This isn't the life she expected. And that realization hits harder than anything else. Because now she can't blame the marriage. She can't blame circumstances. She can't blame you. The one person she's been trying to outrun is herself, and she's finally catching up. She'll start noticing things she ignored before. How the people who supported her decision have slowly drifted away. How the men she's meeting aren't interested in building anything real. How the silence in her home feels deeper now, heavier, colder. How the freedom she bragged about feels less like liberation and more like exile. This is when the longing begins. Not for the marriage exactly, but for what the marriage represented. Stability. Familiarity. A shared world. Someone who understood her flaws without weaponizing them. Someone who cared enough to stay through the storms. Someone who saw her at her worst and didn't walk away. And then come the thoughts she tries desperately to suppress. What if she overreacted? What if she expected too much? What if the problems weren't as big as she made them? What if leaving wasn't bravery, but running? But here's the cruel part. Even when she starts realizing all of this, she can't admit it to you. Her pride won't let her. Her ego won't let her. The narrative she created won't let her. So instead of reaching out with honesty, she'll test the waters in ways that seem harmless but hold all the weight in the world. A random message with no clear purpose. A memory she suddenly remembers to tell you. A question she shouldn't need to ask you anymore. A comment about something from the past she pretended she forgot. She'll never say the truth directly. She'll hint. She'll circle around it. She'll hope you decode what she's too afraid to say out loud. She's not doing as well as she pretends. She's lonelier than she expected. She's realizing she misjudged everything. And she's terrified it might be too late to fix it. Meanwhile, your life moves in the opposite direction. Slowly, steadily, quietly. You rebuild. You grow. You evolve into a version of yourself that's stronger, calmer, more grounded. And the cruel irony is that this version of you, the one shaped by the pain she caused, is the exact version she always wished you would become. But now she doesn't get access to him. And that truth cuts deeper than any breakup ever could. Because she's not just mourning what she lost. She's mourning what she could have had if she had stayed. The family that could have grown. The memories that could have been built. The love that could have healed instead of shattered. And here's the truth no one wants to admit. She may move on. She may date. She may even remarry. But a part of her, the part that wakes up in the middle of the night, the part that feels empty on quiet weekends, the part that still remembers your voice, your touch, your presence, that part will never fully let go. Not because you were perfect, but because you were real in a world that turned out to be fake. And she will spend years trying to rewrite the story in her mind. Years trying to convince herself she didn't make the wrong choice. Years battling the regret she refuses to confess. Years pretending she doesn't look at your life from a distance, wondering what her own could have been if she hadn't walked away. So what really happens to your wife after a divorce? Everything she thought she wanted turns into everything she never expected. And by the time she realizes the truth, she's staring at a door she closed herself, and you're already on the other side, becoming someone she can no longer reach.